Once saved from bankruptcy by blackjack winnings, Fedex, the world's first overnight delivery company, delivers more than 1.2 billion packages every year in over 220 countries. However, Fedex warned of weakening global shipping demand in a preliminary earnings report, leaving the market scrambling to determine whether the problems reflect internal company shortcomings or a broader economic diagnosis. Therefore, this disastrous news raises concerns about the company's core direction. But what about behind the scenes, with the everyday runnings of this iconic shipping company? Is it equally as concerning? Stick with me and let's find out. In this video, we're going to show you 10 facts that you need to know about Fedex. We're OnlyBrands, the channel dedicated to bringing you awesome regular content on the world's hottest brands. Let's do this. Number 1. Dangerous workplace. Donate Young, a 23-year-old temporary package handler at FedEx Express' massive worldwide hub, was to unload packages from shipping containers pulled by motorized tugs. Meanwhile, another worker closed but didn't lock the vinyl door of a container, a practice that was common. When packages fell against the door, it swung open, hitting Young in the back of the leg, and he fell chest first into a metal pole. Tragically, the church musician, devoted father, and rapper was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. After Tosha's on-site investigation, FedEx was fined $7,000 for failing to provide a workplace free from recognized hazards that were causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm to employees. Number 2. Bribery. A former Utah trucking company owner pleaded guilty in a federal court to bribing a former FedEx ground manager in pay-to-play scheme in exchange for lucrative contracts and to defrauding the PPP loan program. Hubert Ivan Ugart, 52, of Draper, Utah, pleaded guilty to fraud and money laundering in U.S. District Court in Salt Lake City. He admitted to paying a former FedEx Ground, FXG, senior line haul manager, Ryan Lee Mower, approximately $490,000 over a 7-year period between 2012 and 2019 in exchange for operating at least 45 delivery routes originating from the Salt Lake City hub, tripling the limit of routes allowed under FedEx Ground's established policies. In exchange for the payments, Ugart's 14 trucking companies netted over $24 million over 7 years. Ugart was one of the 10 defendants who paid approximately $1 million in bribes to Mower. And, according to federal investigators, prosecutors claimed the trucking companies involved in the scheme, with Mower raked in more than $280 million total over a 10-year period. Number 3. Murderous Driver. And now for a highly disturbing and tragic story. On December 8th of this year, a FedEx driver was accused of abducting and killing a 7-year-old girl in Texas. Tanner Horner told authorities that he strangled her after accidentally hitting her with his van while making a delivery at her home, according to an arrest warrant obtained. Horner, 31, told investigators that 7-year-old Athena Strand wasn't seriously hurt after he hit her while backing up, but he panicked and put her in his van. He didn't want to tell her father what had happened, so he strangled her in the back of the van, the warrant had said. Athena's mother, Matilyn Gandy, spoke at a news conference stating the package Horner dropped off that day was a Christmas present for her amazing little girl. I was robbed of watching her grow up, Gandy said. By the way, a lot of hard work and care goes into these videos, so if you could help us out and click the subscribe button, we would greatly appreciate it. Number 4. Abortion message. On June 24th this year, a social media post instantly sparked outrage and conversation. It was all centered around a sign in a family's front yard that said, "Keep abortion safe and legal." Their doorbell camera captured a FedEx driver riding on a box while walking up to the sidewalk to make a delivery. The message read, "It shouldn't be, but don't worry, it will be. Just not in Kentucky, because it's murder of a life. Good day." However, the story takes another twist when the family's surveillance cameras captured a UPS driver arriving later that day. He appeared to read the message that the FedEx driver had written on the box and proceeded to cross it out with a marker, writing instead, "Continue to exercise your First Amendment rights, UPS." The couple said that they planned to keep the box as a memento to teach their children someday. "We're just trying to set a better example and to make a better world for our girls, who are 20 months old." Wave News reached out to both FedEx and UPS about the story. Reporters with Wave have been in touch with UPS but have not received a formal statement. FedEx has not yet responded. Number 5. Castaway. The now iconic 2000 survival drama Castaway stars Tom Hanks as Chuck Noland, a FedEx troubleshooting manager who's always making every second of the day count in pursuit of efficiency. Viewers are introduced to his character while he's literally racing against the clock in the hope to maximize the speed of a FedEx warehouse in Russia. When his work plane crashes, Chuck becomes stranded on a deserted island and he finally has all the time in the world, but no true purpose or anyone to share it with. Though Chuck is separated from his job and civilization in general so early in the film, he's able to cling to a few consistent things in his life. These include his volleyball-crafted best friend, Wilson, an example of superb product placement, although Robert Zemeckis' movie gives FedEx and their logo a fair amount of screen time, they didn't actually pay for the product placement. Number 6. And what was that in the box? Also, when Chuck is first stranded, he goes through all of the boxes that were on the plane except for one, the unopened FedEx package with the artsy wing design on it, which he leaves alone out of a sort of reverence and as a sliver of hope, keeps him alive just as much as his other prized possessions. Funnily enough, the contents of this box are never revealed. According to Castaway's script, the package contains salsa, which means it's meant to spice up the relationship it pertains to. However, none of that information made it into the movie itself. What's in the FedEx box remains a mystery to the audience. Number 7. Package rescue. An Ohio man recently rescued a bunch of packages dumped on the side of the road by a FedEx driver. Zach Arnwine and his fiancee were driving along a highway east of Germantown, Ohio, when they saw a FedEx truck with its flashers on. Arnwine's fiancee said it looked like the driver was throwing something on the side of the road. When they turned around to investigate, Arnwine said that the driver was already gone. The package recipients were amazed when they received his call, and when he delivered the packages, the people were very grateful for his generosity. Arnwine decided to deliver the packages to the right households himself because he didn't want them to end up in an evidence room or somewhere else over the holidays. He's reached out to FedEx several times but hasn't been able to speak to anyone. That was an especially juicy fact, right? I think that one definitely deserves a thumbs up. Number 8. Blackjack Saviour. In its early days, founder of FedEx, Frederick Smith, was so desperate he had to rely on gambling in Vegas to fund his company. In 1971, Smith founded the company with $4 million of inheritance and $80 million in loans and equity investments. But in the first 2 years, primarily due to rising fuel costs, the company found itself millions of dollars in debt and on the brink of bankruptcy. When FedEx's funds dwindled to just $5,000, Smith realized he didn't have enough to fuel the planes. The company had already gone to many extremes, from pilots using their personal credit cards to fuel planes to uncashed paychecks. So what's a desperate founder to do? Smith impulsively flew to Las Vegas and played blackjack with the last of the company money. Amazingly, when he came back next week, he had turned the remaining $5,000 into $27,000, just enough for the company to stay in operation for another week. Number 9. Holiday chaos. People hoping to get their holiday shopping delivered on time could be caught in the middle of a growing battle between FedEx and thousands of contractors who deliver most FedEx packages. Many of the contractors used by the company's FedEx Ground division say that they're losing money, even as revenue at the unit soared more than 60% since before the pandemic. FedEx Express depends on FedEx employees to move its shipments, but FedEx Ground depends on a network of more than 6,000 independent businesses to make deliveries. Many of them have dozens or even more than 100 drivers. Most consumers probably don't realize the FedEx Ground drivers stopping at their doors wearing FedEx uniforms are actually working for the contractors, not FedEx itself. Higher costs for fuel, trucks, and driver pay have as many as 30% of those contractors losing money, according to an estimate from Deutsche Bank. Many of the contractors are in the process of forming a trade group to pressure FedEx to improve the terms of the compensation packages that they receive. Number 10. Meaning behind FedEx logo. The FedEx emblem is simple only on first sight, yet it has a steady place on the lists of top company logos. The logo looks stylish and relevant even decades after its redesign. However, the logo is mostly known for its tricky optical illusion. If you look closely between the letters E and X, you'll spot a white arrow. It stands for speed, accuracy, strive for perfection, and perseverance in achieving goals. Each shade on the logo has its meaning. You might have noticed that the X part of the name changes its color across different displays. It's a witty way to distinguish the departments inside the company. For example, orange stands for FedEx Express, green is the corporate color of FedEx Ground, and red is a direct indication of FedEx Freight. We appreciate you sticking around and we hope you enjoyed the video. But why stop now? Click these videos for more awesome content.